To Dr. Slaughter, my ITC classmates, death seemed to be a very normal event until these 4 deaths occurred. Then my thanatopsis, my reflection, my written memorial about death changed. I thought prior to this, and I still think, that death is inevitable, as Dr. Slaughter said in The Inevitable Death of a Virtuous Woman. But while death is inevitable, how it occurs is not always how we expect it to occur. When I saw the death of George Floyd on the video that Memorial Day, I was so shocked. I called my pastor and I said, I just saw this man murdered. And he said, yes, the world will see it. And America will experience a different America. It was then that I learned about sudden, unnatural, unexpected death and how that type of death carries a different grieving process. And you all have read the same article that I've read that's called African Cultural Concept of Death and the Idea of Advanced Care Directives. And I reflected upon the grief that George Floyd's family members must experience and how the grief occurs after seeing him murdered. And not only their family's grief because of that incident, but my grief and your grief, the whole world's grief. And as I looked at the videos that are posted in the forum, I thought about a death of Black people where nothing is enough to prevent your life from being taken. George Floyd, sitting in his car, presumably smoking a cigarette. The store workers came out and allegedly accused him of allegedly having used a fake bill. But he didn't run away. He didn't drive away from that place. He stayed right where he was until the police came and put his knee on his neck. So it wasn't enough that George Floyd remained peacefully there or said that he couldn't breathe. His life was still taken. Taylor, at what is supposed to be the safest place in the world for us, and that's at home. But yet, with a no-knock warrant, police came in. And then she gets killed and her boyfriend gets arrested for shooting at the police who burst into their home. What is ever enough? Nothing, it seems. I feel so hopeless. Aubrey, doing what we're supposed to be doing, exercising. There's a sentiment going around that says Black people get coronavirus because we're obese. We don't exercise enough. So he was jogging. But yet that wasn't enough. He was chased down and killed. So what is ever enough? Even Reed, even though he was giving chase and not relenting, and filmed his death on Facebook Live. Irresponsibility shouldn't mean a death sentence. So there's a sense of hopelessness and sorrow and deep anger that I felt when I read and saw these murders at the hands of white supremacists. I thought about scriptures to depict my feelings. I thought about Psalms 30 and 5 that talks about joy comes in the morning after a night of weeping. But I didn't feel satisfied with that scripture. I thought about Esther in chapter 4 and verse 14, where Mordecai says, "What if this was your purpose? You were put here for a time such as this." But that didn't satisfy me either. I settled on Psalms 27, verse 2, the King James Version, a scripture that I've often had to use when faced with systemic racism, deep-seated racism that permeates society. When my enemies came upon me to eat my flesh, they stumbled and fell. And I pray and I hope that systemic racism, white supremacy, will stumble and fall, even though it is mightily doing us harm. Thank you.